On January, something terrifying just happened when 3I ATLAS passed close to Mars. This rare interstellar object may have just sent a shocking message to humanity. What did 3I Atlas do? There are billions of asteroids orbiting our sun in our solar system. Most of them are harmless rocks that have been here since the beginning, but every once in a while we see something enter the solar system that's not supposed to be there. These are interstellar objects that come from outside our system and usually leave just as quickly as they arrived. Two famous examples are Oumuamua and Borisov. And now we have 3I ATLAS, which recently made headlines for doing something very unexpected near Mars. So what exactly is 3I Atlas? It was first sighted in February of 2023 by NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies as a potentially hazardous object. That S because it had a very high speed and trajectory that would take it very close to Earth in 2026. So far, so boring. But later, further analysis revealed that it actually came from outside the solar system. Suddenly it went from being a potentially hazardous object to one of the most important astronomical discoveries in history. It's not dangerous, at least that's what the experts say. With a diameter of only about 500 meters, it's much smaller than most of the asteroids found in our solar system. And at present, it doesn't pose any real threat to our planet. So why all the fuss? Because 3I Atlas is only the third interstellar object ever discovered. It follows Comet Borisova and Comet Oumuamua, both of which were discovered in 2019. But unlike those two, which quickly left our solar system, 3I ATLAS is still here and won't reach its peak brightness until July of 2024. At that time, it will pass between Jupiter and Saturn and then continue its journey out of the solar system. But before that, it did something quite astonishing. In late January of this year, 3I ATLAS reached Mars and something terrifying happened. But what was it? Let's take a look at the timeline of events. January 3I Atlas approaches Mars. It was moving at a mind-boggling speed of 35 kilometers per second. It didn't reach its closest point until early February, but scientists knew something remarkable was about to happen. You see, since 3I ATLAS was discovered, it's been monitored regularly by telescopes around the world. NASA even gave it a special name, Asteroid 2023 Y1. But no one could have guessed what happened next. No one expected it to suddenly get brighter. Some astronomers did expect that it might become a bit brighter as it approached Mars, but no one was ready for what actually happened. While approaching the red planet, its brightness increased by almost 30 times. That's right, almost overnight. 3I ATLAS went from being a dim dot in the sky to being nearly visible with the naked eye. That's as bright as Venus. In fact, some people reported seeing it without a telescope in the days leading up to the outburst. And it wasn't just the brightness that changed. Something else astonishing happened. Its direction changed. Yes, 3I ATLAS suddenly shifted course, taking a bizarre loop around Mars before continuing on its way. And astronomers are still trying to figure out why. As mentioned earlier, astronomers have been tracking the asteroid for a while. They know its approximate size and composition, and they know exactly where it was going. Then suddenly it took a strange detour, which means that something must have hit it, or maybe it exploded. But if it exploded, why didn't we see a bunch of fragments? There were other possibilities. Perhaps something hit it, knocking it off course. But if that happened, why did it suddenly brighten? Astronomers were baffled and started making all kinds of guesses. Some suggested that the explosion could have been caused by a collision between the asteroid and Martian meteorites. Others believed that it was caused by a comet that hit the asteroid. There were many theories, but unfortunately, none of them were backed by evidence. Then there was another strange thing. After the explosion, 3I Atlas released an enormous amount of energy into space. Unfortunately, we're still not sure exactly what happened, but it looks like the energy release may have played a part in deflecting the asteroid off course. This energy also caused the brightness to increase dramatically. The explosion itself was big enough to be seen from Earth. Sure, it wasn't as spectacular as a supernova or a massive volcanic eruption, but it was still pretty amazing, and in my opinion, it's a sign that we should pay closer attention to outer space. Just think about it. A small interstellar object enters our solar system, and before long it's putting on quite the show near Mars. We don't know how many of these things there are, but if this one can brighten 30 times in just a few hours, imagine what a bigger one could do. If we can't even detect interstellar objects until they're already inside our solar system, then we're basically sitting ducks waiting for the impact that will end all life on Earth. But let's calm down a bit and focus on what really happened. 3I ATLAS. Was it a harmless event, or is it a sign of something more sinister? Well, according to NASA, it was neither harmful nor sinister. It was just very exciting. The agency admitted that the change in brightness and trajectory was surprising, but said that it was nothing to worry about. For now, that is, they haven't yet figured out what caused the outburst, but they say that it probably had something to do with the fact that 3I Atlas is a pancake-shaped object made mostly of ice and dust. As it approached Mars, the gravity of the planet pulled on the asteroid, which caused it to release gas and dust. This created a cloud that reflected sunlight, causing the sudden burst of brightness. NASA believes that the force of this gas and dust cloud was what caused the change in trajectory, pushing the asteroid away from Mars and sending it on its merry way back out into deep space. But they admit that they're still looking for answers. What does this mean for us? For now, nothing really. But as more and more interstellar objects make their way into our solar system, we need to be prepared. We don't want to be caught off guard by something that could be harmful. Of course, 3I-ATLAS is much smaller than most asteroids found in our solar system. Even after its brightness increased 30 times, it was still too dim to be considered dangerous. It'll never come close enough to Earth to cause any real damage, and that's a relief. But it could be a warning of what's to come. Just think about it. Interstellar objects are flying through space at incredible speeds, and we don't have the technology to detect them until they're already here. We can't even agree on whether or not we should try to destroy them. In 2022, the Planetary Society conducted a poll asking people if they thought we should try to destroy potentially hazardous interstellar objects. 67% of respondents said yes, but 33% said no. And it makes sense why. Who wants to live in a world where someone could destroy an interstellar object that's already inside our solar system? After all, we don't know what it's made of or what kind of damage it could cause. But what if an interstellar object is hurtling towards Earth at 35 kilometers per second? Will we regret not destroying it when we had the chance? And finally, what does this tell us about space in general? Some people believe that the explosion and change in trajectory means that we're reliving in a universe full of dangerous objects and unknown forces. 3I Atlas was supposedly harmless, but it managed to surprise astronomers and make them feel like they do want to know as much about space as they thought. Maybe that's true. Maybe we're just scratching the surface of what's out there and we do want to know how dangerous things can get. Or maybe 3I-ATLAS was just a lucky break. After all, there are billions of asteroids in our solar system, and they've been here for billions of years. Surely we're due for something big, and it seems like NASA agrees. They haven't given up on finding answers about 3I Atlas, and they're hoping that with more time and more data, they'll be able to figure out what happened near Mars. But what do you think? Do you think 3I Atlas was a warning of things to come? Or was it just a harmless object that surprised astronomers? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.